Hello my fellow flowers, welcome back to another video, unless you're new here, in which case, welcome. Today I will be painting with some oil paints. I'll just be using these ones. They're, I don't know, whatever, paints. Not like super crazy fancy or anything, just oil paints. That's how much I know. So I started just by looking up some reference pictures, some sunflowers, cottages, like we're really going for like a cottagecore thing, but I usually love sunflowers, which is not surprising. I really like this picture, this one, because I think that it's good for my ability level and it just has a really great focus, and we have the one major sunflower instead of like just a giant field of yellow. You know, when you're painting, especially on a smaller canvas, that might be a little bit more difficult. So, you know, we have the one main sunflower, we have some pretty, like, you can follow those lines, you know. It just works really well. I do really enjoy this picture, and I considered it, but the thing is, we have a lot of, like, lights, and then some shading happening, and some differences in the light, and then we have a lot of different things going on. So it's just a lot harder to paint. It's more complex than this. And I'm probably, for the sake of simplicity, just not going to like include some of these little flowery guys in here. But this is my reference picture. So I will start by transferring it onto here. Honestly, would it work to like hold this up to my computer and like look at the screen and like turn it up really bright? I think that would work. So I started by transferring the most major and important lines onto a piece of paper from the image. All I did was like zoom in on the image and like make sure it was like approximately the right size, and then turn the brightness up, and then just held this sheet up and then just like drew the lines in. So now, because canvas that has been like primed with a nice layer of paint isn't exactly like the most see-through, we're just gonna like hold this up and be like, you know, that's how we're gonna do it. So let's get into it. Now that I've transferred my image from the paper to the canvas, as you can see, I can now put that paper away and pull out my oil paints. Actually, I'll need to grab a palette. But what I'll do is, I mean, some minor color mixing if I really feel that it's necessary, but mostly I'll just take my oil paints, and like this one will probably get a lot of use, and just use it straight, because again, I don't paint with oil paints a lot. I mean, I have apparently at some point, but oil paints is like real something that I haven't really touched before, so we're just gonna go easy on this one and use the paints right out of the thing instead of like mixing colors and stuff. Maybe if I find it really necessary, but probably not. So I'm gonna get started with the like background most parts and just go in with my palette knife. And so the house in the picture was like kind of a grayish, brownish, like it was wood, but it was like obviously aged. And I want to just use them out of the containers, but I don't know what color that would be, so I think that might be like one of the only things that I actually mix, and it's gonna be like the first thing that I do. But like, we'll do it. So this is working out pretty well. I'll need a bit more paint here, obviously, because like I said, I'm really gonna lather it on, but I'm used to like not using a lot of paint and like conserving my paint. But I really want to get like a lot of texture going here. But as you can see, if you don't mix your colors fully, like this is my mixed color, then you get those like nice little like lines of different colors, and it like gives it more depth and character and stuff. So that's what I'm doing. So obviously it would be a lot easier to color in the lines if I wanted to go a different direction and get in between all of the like sunflower petals. But part of it is I'm creating like the texture of the house here. I don't want that part. I'm just gonna go back. Smoosh. And so I'm creating and kind of like the wood grain, the like texture of the house. I'm keeping it all vertical and not going like at angles or horizontally or anything. But if I did, that would definitely make it easier. So that's something to consider when choosing your image if you're gonna paint and follow this as if it's a tutorial. I just want to like put it out there that this isn't meant to be like an exact tutorial. It's like, hey, if you don't know much about painting with oils, like basically nothing, then come join me and paint with some oils. Otherwise, if you know a lot more than I do, I mean, you could school me in the comments, but, at least in a polite way would be nice. Otherwise, like, don't bother, please. But no matter what, we're all learning. I haven't taken any sort of like oil class or anything. I've never painted with oils like in any sort of educational setting or anything. Like I Okay, I think that's pretty good for my tree. I think it's funny that I started by saying I'm not gonna mix colors, but then I was like, well, I'm gonna like have a few different colors in every single stroke of my palette knife because that creates depth. But like, I'm not mixing. I'm totally mixing colors. Not like extensively or like trying to do a perfect job or anything, but I think it looks good. I think it looks good. So, I'll check back in when I'm done, I guess, and I'll just keep going along doing my thing. So this is how my painting turned out. It just needs to dry now for possibly like 5 or more days. I'm not sure. I looked it up, and if you have the paint on pretty thick, kind of like I do, you can see here, it is on pretty thick in some spots especially. But apparently it can take like over a week to dry, depending on how thick you slather that paint on. But I really like the look of it. For the sky parts, I tried to do a little swirly. For the grass parts, I dragged my palette knife to help create more of those lines after, putting the paint on. I did little bloops on the sunflower and then just dragged it out away from the center to make the petals. And kind of just, yeah, that's my painting. I'm seeing some of this cracking, and I think that's just because it's not sticking to the canvas very well. I'm not entirely sure, but I hope it doesn't do that too much because I worked really hard on this, so I don't know. If anyone knows why it would crack like that, let me know. But good luck with your paintings.
Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and remember to like this video if you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.